Jakarta has a stream of urban issues, from unhealthy air to terrible traffic even when it's not rush hour. Last year, it had the 30th worst traffic congestion in the world according to TomTom, which monitors traffic around the globe. Andika Hidayatullah says the nearly 1 hour and 20-minute commute on his motorbike from the satellite city of Depok to his job in Jakarta takes twice as long as it should.
A car should be used with 4 occupants, but most workers here drive a car to their workplace by themselves, and that causes huge traffic.
Research by the Bandung Institute of Technology shows that vehicle emissions are the biggest source of air pollution in Jakarta. On multiple days last year, Swiss company IQ Air ranked Jakarta's air as the most polluted of any major city in the world.
It affects the respiratory system, whether it's coughing or feeling kind of like you have the flu.
The city of Jakarta has about 10 million people, but the greater Jakarta region has more than 30 million. There are trains and buses available, but old habits can be hard to break.
Public transport is currently much better than, let's say, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. What has not happened is people starting to leave their motorbikes and their cars.
Ahmad Gamal is an urban planning expert at the University of Indonesia. He says Jakarta and surrounding communities should work more closely to resolve some of the urban issues they face, including overdevelopment.
Jakarta gets all of the offices, gets all of the industries, but most of the housing projects, they probably need to go a little bit further because land is much more expensive in Jakarta. So naturally, the adjacent areas, in their best interest in promoting development, would basically just overbuild.
Gamal says overbuilding in upstream communities leads to rivers overflowing downstream in Jakarta, flooding nearby neighborhoods. It's a problem that Zayunuddin, who lives by the Ciliwung River, knows all too well.
If there's a flood, all houses will also be filled with mud around 30 centimeters thick.
Along the coast in North Jakarta, the government is extending a seawall. This abandoned mosque sits on the opposite side. Water from rising sea levels due to climate change has already washed over small portions of Jakarta.
So the northern part of Jakarta is facing the biggest challenge because the sea is rising while the land is actually sinking.
The national government is planning an agglomeration council for Greater Jakarta to coordinate all its local and regional governments. But Gamal says it's not clear whether this council will have the authority it needs to succeed.
It's going to work if it's a superseding authority on top of these regional governments, listening to their needs, but capable of creating plans that is binding for them.
Meanwhile, people here say they need to see some real improvements before they can breathe a sigh of relief. Dave Grunebaum, VOA News, Jakarta, Indonesia.